Hi everyone, it's Shannon and welcome to today's video. So very excited because I got an unexpected package in the mail a couple days ago, and it is the brand new Sigma Beauty. I haven't received PR from Sigma Beauty in a while, so I was very excited to receive this. And it is their new Spectrum eyeshadow palette. And I actually got the PR kit, which is the palette and 2 brushes. You can actually get this set on QVC, which I'll talk about. And if you are interested in getting the palette, I might even suggest getting it on QVC because it's a really good deal if you are going to get, if you are in need of these 2 brushes. But this is an interesting palette because it's kind of, for lack of a better word, it's a little boring. But I've talked about this before. I like boring, and boring is can be very useful. So we're gonna get into this palette right now. Okay, so first of all, this palette is going to be on sale on Sigma Beauty on May 13th, which I believe is a Tuesday, and it is going to be $65. These 2 brushes, so the brushes that I said that came into in the kit is the E35 tapered blending. This one is $26, and then the E54, which is the medium sweeper, and this is $24. So if you get them on QVC, it's like $115 value, and right now it is $79.98. So basically $80. QVC usually does charge shipping, so you can't get shipping, but usually it's like $3.50, but you do pay for shipping. Sometimes they have free shipping, but it's a really good deal if you are like in need of some brushes. These are like great brushes. I already have 2 of these, but I can always use more brushes, right? And I love Sigma brushes. But if you are interested in the palette, it is a really good deal, so I would recommend that. Now, if you don't need brushes, then we'll talk about whether I recommend it. But this is $65, and it is a true neutral palette. It is, I've already swatched it, but you'll see it is like 20 shades, but it's essentially like 15 neutral matte shades, and then you have 5 shimmers. So like I said, it's a little boring, but this is, like, I would say this is an essential palette. Like, this is the one that I will have on my desk, and this will be the one that I will wear to work, or if I'm going, you know, just out and I needed something quick to do. This is something that's very simple, very quick. I can wear it. The shimmers are really pretty, but they're not impactful. So if you are looking for, like, you know, something very impactful, then you're not going to get it from this palette. However, you're going to get pretty much every neutral matte you need. So if you like looking at an all matte palette, like the, you know, the Mario Makeup by Mario one, this I think is a good alternative because you've got the 15 mattes, but then you also got 5 shimmers, you know, if you wanted them. So the shimmers are beautiful, but they're true, the true Sigma Beauty shimmers. There aren't any special ones like there are in the Little Mermaid palette, but they are really pretty. And I did do swatches in Natural Light, which I'll talk about in a second. So let me go ahead, in this description on the Sigma website is, your neutral moment is here. Get every nude shade you can imagine with this stunning spectrum of 20 wearable matte, shimmer, and metallic eyeshadows from Sigma Beauty. From rich earth tones and soft beiges to glittering golds and deep browns, this timeless palette will never go out of style, making it perfect for every occasion and skin tone. So I will say, and now it's definitely neutral. Like, it is a true neutral palette. You've got some warm tones. I won't say there's that many cool tones. This one, Mohair, is maybe a little bit more cooler, but there's also, like, it's probably neutral warm, not so much cool neutral or neutral cool. But the shimmers are absolutely beautiful. But again, this is like an everyday palette. I love these types of tones. These are types of tones I lean towards. I love these types of tones because they tend to make my blue eyes pop. So I was very excited. I also like the size of it because it's not too big. You don't have, they don't have the space for the brush. It's pretty thin, so I like that as well. It's very comparable to the Mega palettes from ColourPop, but I do prefer the quality from Sigma Beauty. So let's go ahead and I'll show you the swatches now. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the swatches. I did break them up into 2 groups because my arm isn't long enough for 20 shades, but like I said, the first 15 are matte, so it says like light sand matte. I'm just gonna say light sand because was gonna say matte every time. So they're all matte, the first 15. I did put the first 2 rows together, and then the third row and the 4th row together. So the shimmers will all be together, so you get to compare them. And then the last row, the 3rd row is pretty much kind of the deepest shades, not all of them, because you'll see how they're kind of mixed around, but it really gives you a good idea of the different shades. So here, let's go with the first half, and we have Sand Dollar, which is a light sand, Coriander, a soft beige, Beach Grass, Tawny beige, Camel, warm yellow brown, Star Anise, spice brown, Papyrus, a soft sepia, Mohair, a muted tan, Homemade, warm amber brown, Macchiato, cocoa brown, Cornucopia, a wicker brown. And for the second half, we have Wallflower, a natural tan, Buttered Waffles, baked brown, Brickyard, reddish brown, Double Espresso, a rich coffee brown, Peppercorn, a dark cool brown, and then the last 5 shades, Dune, which is a silvery beige metallic, Tiger's Eye, a tawny copper gold metallic, Spiced Peaches, a peachy rose gold shimmer, Honeysuckle, a bronze gold shimmer, and then Clairvoyant, a dark brown shimmer. So as you can see, so there's 2 metallics. So the 2 metallics are the ones right here, and then these 3 are the shimmers. So I will say the shimmers, like, they're not very, these 2 are a little bit more opaque, the metallics, and then the shimmers are more kind of like more than a topper, but less than, you know, the metallics. So they're like a good topper, but they're a little bit more sheer than you would have with these. The Dune shade is like the perfect inner corner, you know, brow bone highlight for every day or for work, where you want to have a little shimmer, but you don't want that like really kind of, you know, Pat McGrath type intensity or indie brand intensity. I think it's perfect. Like, this is the one that I would love to wear like every day. So really excited. I'm going to do a quick look today. Just, you know, it's the same Sigma quality. They swatch beautifully. The shimmer swatched beautifully. So I'm just gonna do a quick general look, just to kind of show, use the 2 brushes that I got along with a couple other brushes that I have, just to give you an idea. And the thing with these types of palettes though, is when I'm looking at it, I kind of don't know where to start. So I gotta figure out like where I'm gonna start here. And what I usually do is, I've talked about this before, I kind of do my transition, outer corner, and then a shimmer. So what I usually will do is, which shimmer am I gonna use, and kind of go from there. So that's kind of how I kind of figure it out, is like, which shimmer do I want to use, or which metallic do I want to use, and then go from there. Okay, so I have decided to go with Tiger's Eye, which is the second metallic here. I'll probably use Dune as well, but I'm going to use Tiger's Eye over the lid. So I'm going to go in with Camel. I might mix it a little bit with Beach Grass just to make it a little bit lighter, but even though I'm going to go with Camel and Macchiato, even though they look kind of close in the swatches, they're actually pretty separate. Macchiato can get pretty deep. So I'm going to take Camel and maybe mix it with a little bit of Beach Grass, but kind of just go very, very light-handed. I don't have any sort of eyeshadow primer. I do have some great eyeshadow primers that are sticks from Sigma Beauty that I love, but I'm not going to use those today because I really wanted to use these without any eyeshadow primer. So I'm just going to go in with this all over in the transition. And you can see I'm just going I am using the tapered blending, which is the 35. So I am using that brush. And you can see here, it's a really great transition shade brush. Okay, so there it is on both sides. Beautiful. You know, I love Sigma quality, especially their mattes. Their mattes are gorgeous. I am going to go in, I'm going in with my Crease Pro from Sonia G. This is my favorite one for the crease. So for dark colors, I am going to go in with that Macchiato shade. I just can't find a brush that works as well from any other brand. And I don't have many Sonia G brushes, but this is my favorite. So anyway, I'm just gonna go in with that Macchiato shade, and I'm gonna just tap it off to make sure I don't have any excess. And then I'm just gonna go in the crease. And like I said, it's not that big of a difference when you look at it in the pan, but when I swatched it, it did. So I definitely think I can deepen it. It's actually a pretty good, I don't want it too dramatic. I just want it enough. So again, just gonna go on the outside a little bit and then bring it in. Okay, so there it is on both sides of the eye, just on the outer crease. Great. Again, this one actually, if you have palettes that maybe sometimes that there's a palette that there really isn't a lot of like shades to give you that depth, this is a great like complementary palette because you've got quite a few different types of browns. You've got a couple cool browns, some, you know, some warm browns, neutral browns. So you've got pretty much every type of brown or something like to give you depth. So I know I have some palettes where I've said like this palette doesn't give you much depth. You can kind of reach into this. While I don't necessarily recommend purchasing a palette for that, but if you did have it both, then you have that. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take that E54 sweeper and I'm gonna go in with that Tiger's Eye metallic, and I am gonna go in with the brush. We'll see, I might go back in with my finger, but I am gonna go in with my brush. And if you hear yelling, I have a 9-year-old. So that was him right there. And let me just put this on. So this is a really pretty color. It's a true, it is Tawny Copper Gold. And again, this is one of the like true metallics. So a little bit of fallout, not huge amount, a little bit of fallout, but you know, a good amount, but it goes on really, really nice. Okay, so I really like that metallic. I like the color, really simple, really pretty. It's got good shimmer, but it's not too much. Again, this is like, to me, this is something, this is not like going out, maybe early first date. I don't know, I haven't gone on a first date in a long time, but this is like, you know, this isn't like going out, you know, with your friends or a concert or something, because I like a little bit more bling for that. But this is kind of like, you know, work party, that type of thing. You know, so usually it's for me, it's my son's going to birthday parties. I'm gonna take the pencil, because this is what all I have right now, is I'm gonna go in with that Dune shade, the lightest metallic, and I think it's the Champagne metallic, and I'm just gonna go in the inner corner and on both sides, and then I'm gonna go in also on the brow bone. So again, this one, I'm gonna go in with my finger. So I think might be a little bit better. Yeah, I'm gonna get a little bit more payoff with my finger, but really pretty. And again, this is a type of thing, because not all palettes have like a good brow bone highlight or a good inner corner highlight. And this is one, again, do you need it? You know, would I buy it for that? No, but it's good to have. And again, this is like a good palette to have for kind of everything else. I'm going to clean that brush really quick, and then I'm going to still take that some. This is the E30, it's a pencil, and I'm going to go in with that Camel shade, the first shade, and I'm going to line my bottom, lower lash line. And I'm just going to do it instead of going with liner. And I did get some fallout with the metallics, not too bad. Usually I do my face makeup or my complexion makeup after, obviously not today, but that's just what I would do normally. But a little bit of fallout, not too bad, it's nothing I can't clean up. So that is my final look. Let me go put on some mascara and come back. Okay, I am back. I put some of my Exaggereyes mascara from Charlotte Tilbury. It is like the mascara that I've been wearing a lot lately, but let's talk about this palette. Okay, so this palette is really good. It is a really good palette, but it's also really boring. But like I said, I like boring, so that's not a problem for me. I think this is something I would say I personally don't need, and I personally would not have purchased if I didn't receive it. But that's not to say that it's not a really good palette. I think the market for this palette is who is looking for an everyday essential palette that they can, you know, wear to work, go, you know, after work, kind of spice it up. You can use that, and you can kind of pop up an indie, you know, at night, you know, if you want to like do the, you know, go from work to evening, pop another shimmer on. This is going to give you everything you ever could want. But personally, I don't need that because I have so many other palettes. I mean, I have way too many, but I do think that is a really good solid palette. Is it worth $65? I find that hard. And the reason why is because while Sigma Beauty, their palettes are running between $50, $60 now, there's always sales. And usually they'll have like a good 30, 40% off sale. So I think it's a great palette. I do get 10% off. But 10% off is really, you know, I have the code, it's Shannon or Shannon 10, I'll put it below. it will save you, you know, 10%, but that's only $6.50. So that's gonna get you just under $60. I think it's, again, I think it's a good palette, but I don't think it's worth $65, especially since it's mostly mattes and you just have these 5 basic shimmers. Like, I think the shimmers in the Little Mermaid palette are like really, they've really upped their game. I would have liked to have seen just one of those maybe here, but I understand that this is more of a kind of essential palette. That's what this is for. This is what I would recommend to people that I always have friends like, oh, I'm looking for like a really good palette like for every day. This would be something that I would recommend to my friends, because that's usually what people come to me. You know, I've recommended the bronze palette or the I need a warm or I need a nude. This is kind of in that, you know, realm, but someone who maybe doesn't need a lot of the shimmers but wants more mattes. Like, this is what this is for. I love, you know, this Coriander shade is pretty much like my skin tone. I love that type of shade, because if I need to correct something, I can use that shade to kind of blend it out really good. The Sand Dollar is a really nice shade too. So I think it's a good solid palette, but it's probably not for most, you know, at least not for most people who are probably watching beauty YouTube. This is going to be for a palette that if, like I said, someone that's looking for like a good everyday palette. But if you are interested in this palette and it is something that you think that you could use or need, or you just missing, then I do think it's a really good solid palette. Like, the mattes are gorgeous. The mattes are great. I think Sigma Beauty's mattes are really, really good. Their shimmers are more basic. So I think that this is just a solid palette. I looked at the palettes that I have from Sigma Beauty. The warm neutrals is really warm and has more color to it and has more depth to it. And then the ambiance palette is more golden. So it's really, this is like a true neutral palette. So it really doesn't compare to any of the other Sigma palettes. But, you know, again, solid. But I would say if you don't need it right now, then I would say wait for a sale. Because at $65, I would wait for at least a 30% off sale personally. Or if you are interested in those 2 brushes, get it on QVC for $80. And then sometimes if you've never bought on QVC, you can get like a $10 coupon. So that's what I would say. Get it on QVC, get the 2 brushes with it. Then I think to me, I think that's a good price for the bundle. Otherwise, wait for a sale on Sigma Beauty. That's my personal recommendation. So with that, if you like this video, click like, click and subscribe. That way you get a notification every time I post a new video. Bye everyone.